Welcome, and thanks for joining us again. I'm Rich Brady, CEO at the American Society of Military Comptrollers, and your host on The Business of Defense, sponsored by ASMC on Federal News Network. My guest today is Mary Ahern Snyder, President and founder of Significance. Significance is a woman-owned small business that provides trusted government consulting expertise across a range of functional areas, including financial management and audit, business systems, emerging technologies, and transformation and strategy. Established in 2014, Significance has grown year over year and now supports all of the military services in the Department of Defense. Earlier this year, Significance was named in the Inc. 5000 private companies list as one of the fastest growing private companies in America. We are excited to have Mary on the show today and hear how she has led the company in this tremendous growth. Mary, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks Rich. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Mary, if we could go back to the beginning, 2014, as we talked, kind of a difficult time for the Department of Defense coming out of sequestration, a lot of budgetary pressures, but that's when you decided to found Significance. Can you talk a little bit about that decision and what drove you to dive into starting a company at that time?
Just a quick snapshot about me. I came from a serial entrepreneur as a father, so I have a lack of risk aversion. So just to let you know, set the stage. Yes, I got into this business in 2004, and I am not before I came into Significance, a little bit of background here. And I'm not a prior senior executive, I'm not a prior military, I'm not a prior large Lockheed Martin, Deloitte, KPMG. But I found quickly that this business is relationship driven. You're getting great people in and having them work together well, and being trustworthy and transparent with your employees, your partners, and your government clients. And then sharing the success with everybody else seems to be the key. So in 2014, it was a little bit of a forced opportunity, it worked out great. I ventured into this and kept those four things in mind when I started it. And it's really helped us, grow every year since then.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely want to come back to what you talked about, that relationship focused and how that drives your business. But you said that you're kind of a serial entrepreneur or came from a serial entrepreneur. What lessons did you bring from those previous companies, lessons learned, positive and negative, that you then applied to Significance that has really led to its growth and success?
Well, to give you a little bit of background from my father, he went from starting gift shops with my mother, and then he ended up, his last business was finding a new technology for minimally invasive surgery in the medical industry. So, it doesn't, you're not constrained by what you know, you just need to be able to learn, right? So, and then in the other prior business, I was in a business partnership. It was positive in the sense that it was a paid education.
Right.
So I learned a lot about this industry, and what it did give me for 10 years, it built the confidence it gave me the confidence that I could do this on my own.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, we're definitely going to come back to that as well, to talk about what it takes to succeed in this business with a women-owned small business in a very competitive environment. So let's say that you're in front of a potential client, one of the services. What's your 30-second pitch? If you're pitching, what's the difference between Significance and some of the competitors out there they could go with?
So, there's different things. Where our footprint is, right now we are centered around the CFO, comptroller, i.e. that's why we're very, very indebted to ASMC. Basically, the relationships we've built have been through the conferences, through our attendance, et cetera. So our footprint right now is, initiatives around the CFO, i.e. audit readiness, business process standardization, some of the other initiatives that are ongoing. We also focus on the systems around the comptroller, and the CFO. DAI, we just talked about that a little while ago. DAI is a huge focus for Marine Corps right now, which is one of our customers. We are involved with Navy ERP, and Sabres is a system that they are going to be moving off of, but we're heavily invested in that also. And then the tools around the CFO, robotic process automation, Power BI, some of these tools that allow the CFOs to make better business decisions. These are the areas where we're involved in. And I think what our competitive edge is, when I think you did kind of alluded to that, we try to bring in the best expertise we can. And I know that sounds like cliche, but between that and the relationships, we're able to provide solutions to our government clients.
So I've always been fascinated. You talked about kind of the main business areas that you're working in, a lot of financial management, a lot of audit readiness systems. Always kind of fascinated on how companies decide where to focus their efforts. And if you go back again to 2014, if you look at your business strategy, was it more of an emergent strategy? Did you just kind of go where the market took you? Or did you have a plan up front to say, no, I'm establishing this business and I want to get into audit readiness, audit remediation, I want to get in that area, and it just kind of grew from there. So can you talk a little bit about how that strategy grew and where it's leading you in the future?
Well, to talk about the strategy a little bit at the beginning was a little bit of a survival mode. So initially out of the gate, I had a person that had expertise in asset management, real property. But to be honest with you, this is a people business. So the good news is you really can be anything you want to be. But the bad news is you can be anything you want to be, and you can get distracted and diluted. So we started with the audit readiness, and that was my background in my previous organization. So audit readiness, we had the relationships. I had some key people that joined me pretty early on, and we built the business around that. But then with the relationships we had, we listened to our customers, and we tried to stay ahead of what the market was doing. So we were kind of looking around the corner because of our relationships, understanding what the initiatives that leadership is going to come out with. So we were forecasting and working with our customer to plan ahead and so they're not caught flat-footed.
Right. So you are also an economically disadvantaged women-owned small business, and that's a special designation for businesses. Can you dissect that a little bit and talk about each of the components and what that does for you as a company?
Well, so economically disadvantaged women-owned small business is actually a subset of women-owned small business.
Okay.
And the way it's a measure of your income, you have to be below a threshold for income, personal income, and at the time, I'm more than qualified, assets and your net worth. And if you're below that, then you apply through the SBA. There's a new certification process, and you're certified at EDWOSB. I applaud SBA for going and taking this initiative and going in a direction to allow, women to provide services with a smaller competition. The problem is that the organization or the program is very immature. Because I knew I had this interview today, I did a quick search last night. There's 3 EDWOSB forecasted opportunities coming in the next 2 years, 3 years. And but on the flip side, there is 88 SDVOSBs worth like $2 billion. The ones that for the women-owned small business and EDWOSB, I think the total was like 600,000. So it's still growing. It's still something that we're having to educate our customers with. A lot of these contracting officers are not aware what to do how to set aside the work. So it's an education process. But again, I applaud the SBA for taking the initiative to push this forward.
Yes, I think most people who are in this space are familiar with the service-disabled, veteran-owned small businesses, less familiar with the economically disadvantaged women-owned small business. And it sounds like really you need to get kind of the word out about these programs so that when the government is letting contracts, that they are effectively setting aside contracts for these programs. Is it kind of how it works?
Yes, exactly. And again, what we're seeing is some of these opportunities are coming out. They're more cleaning services. They're the traditional woman from the 1950s. They have the cleaning company. They have the secretarial services. So really pushing out and getting the word out about the opportunity to give women a chance. And there's a very, very credentialed women out there that provide excellent service. So
could do a heck of a lot more than just running cleaning businesses.
Yeah, and you certainly don't want me to clean.
But you've grown. We talked a little bit about your growth, which is fantastic. Are you about to grow out of? Is there a potential where you could grow out of being an economically disadvantaged woman in a small business?
As interesting as that is, like you feel like it was yesterday. You could barely make payroll, and then here we are. Fast forward, I'm like, oh my gosh, we probably have two years for certain NAICS codes. We probably have 2 years left of being small. I mean, as we get more into IT, we have a little bit more of a runway, but this is something we have to plan for, and I listened to Sonny saying, and he's in the mid-tier market, and they're having to compete with, you're competing with the larger companies, and it's a whole new ball game, but, planning ahead and, putting the strategies in place so you're going to have exponential growth is what is key.
So it sounds like I think you're at about 100 plus employees now, about 25 million in revenue. Is that kind of where you're at?
Yep. We're probably going to do a little bit up to closer to 30 this year. So, yeah.
All right, fantastic. You're listening to The Business of Defense. I'm with Mary Ahern Schneider, President and Founder of Significance. We'll be right back.